Hello, I'm Oral and welcome to Oral Gibbs Live. With me, I have a very interesting St. Martiner, Mr. Edwin James. Mr. James, how are you doing, sir?
Yeah, morning, Mr. Oral Gibbs. I must thank you for giving me this opportunity to be part of your platform, your program, your popular program. And I hope you'll be able to touch on many issues which will be beneficial to the people out there, especially they will get the proper information and also adequate information as to make the proper decision in choosing the representative they want into Parliament in country St. Martin.
Okay. You know, a lot of people don't know you, but a lot of people know you. You've been very popular on WhatsApp with your messages.
Well, I think over the years, I've been very active in politics and many people knows me. I write a lot of articles. I have been on many TV program as well as radio program. And on the road too, I meet people and I discuss about the developments and the problems that we are facing here in the country, St. Martin. So I'm well known in the community.
And I like reading your WhatsApp messages, and you always say, oops, that's like a trademark.
Well, I try to keep myself busy, and also I find that it's a remarkable contribution I like to make to the people of St. Martin, especially in these trial days, that way a lot of people are going through a lot of problems and whatnot.
And that's quite interesting because I made reference to the term you use in your writing when you say, oops, that's like your trademark, man.
Well, I have different, you see, there's different strokes for different folks. I use all kind of strategy as to get the attention of the people and what have you. And most of the time, not always it's about the facts, but I do it in such a joking way, at least then by not ridiculing, but making people feel a kind of odd. They get angry. I always said, you should not get angry. You should not give me a reason for me to do that.
Yeah. You know, it's a bit, you come from a very good St. Martin family, very intelligent, very outspoken. I knew your father. I interviewed your father when he was alive, your mother, some of your brothers too. You know, it's amazing to see how you're involved in the whole political process. You haven't given up at all.
Yes, and what happened, my father and mother have always been activists in the community. My mother played a big role in the church as an organist, and also my late sister was also organist. My father has always been a community activist. He was active in forming what you call it, the first community councils on St. Martin, together with the late Mr. Bell, the late Mr. David Van Putten, and the late Mr. Lenny Hallman. So I take after my father and whatnot. And every time when my father goes to these type of things, we go along with him. So we learn a lot from my father.
So it's in the genes. So when you look at St. Martin today, Mr. James, right? How do you feel? Because you were born in St. Martin?
I was born in St. Martin. I was born in Colby. Okay. And I left here when I was an old child. And I went to Aruba, where I lived for most of my years. And I went to school down there. The first school I attended down there was Princess Marijke School. Then I went to Princess Irene School. Then I went to Gouverneur Abraham de Veer School. And then I went on to John F. Kennedy, the technical school. Then I went on to Holland to study.
Oh, okay. Did you like Aruba when you went there? Was Aruba nice to you? You had a good experience when you went to Aruba?
What's that?
Did you have a good experience when you went to Aruba as a young boy?
I got a lot of experience. And I got a lot of what you call it. My education is actually from there. I was educated properly down there, and Aruba helped shape my frame of mind, my mindset as to what it is today. Good.
But when you went to Aruba, coming from St. Martin, was the transition easier or difficult for you?
Well, to start with, I went down when I was about 2 years old.
Oh, okay. Then
so
you're
it was
baby.
just normal.
Yeah.
It was just normal.
Oh, okay.
It's normal.
And how was Holland? When you went to Holland to study, I had your brother here recently who also studied in Holland. When you went to the Netherlands to study what? What did you study in the Netherlands?
In Aruba, I studied what you call mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
Because at that time, the UTS, they had only two streams.
Oh, okay.
Electrical and mechanical engineering. I didn't like electrical, so I took what you call it mechanical engineering.
Yeah.
And then when I went on to Holland, I studied chemistry because I didn't like also mechanical engineering, but I had to choose between mechanical and electrical engineering.
Yeah.
So I went to Holland. I said, let me choose the one that I like because that was not possible in Aruba, chemistry.
Okay. And you came back to St. Maarten.
I came back to Curacao where I work in the research lab in Shell. And then at that time, the development of Mullet Bay, they had the desalination plant and they needed a chemist. So Mr. Lupides got in contact with my father, and my father contacted me in Curacao and asked me, why don't I come to St. Maarten? And after a year, I left the research lab, the work in Shell. I came to St. Maarten, where I ended up by Mullet Bay over the desalination plant, the boiler room, and the sewage plant.
Wow, I learned something new today. I didn't know that. I learned something new today. I didn't know that.
Well, I have a lot of things that I went through here and what have you, and I like to share it with people because I'm not a new kid on the block.
You're not Johnny come lately for sure.
Absolutely not a Johnny come lately.
And you also had a business too, right, in St. Maarten?
I had several businesses. The first business I had here in St. Maarten was I had a chemical industry.
Right.
I started with a gentleman named Castillo. Then later, he left, and I decided to change it over to a bigger branch, St. Maarten Chemical Industry, where we produced 22 products, made 22 products from Clorox right on to Amaryl, St. Maarten Chemical Industry. And I also had started also some construction companies. I had 2 of them. I went through the whole motion. So I was very industrial.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, it's amazing because today now, when you look around St. Maarten, you can't find St. Maarten people in business anymore.
You see what happened?
Before.
Like, because in the past, things were different. You had a lot of opportunities, and you didn't have this influx of a lot of people. Okay. So in those days, it was easier for us to go into different areas and also become, expert in those areas. Those are the opportunities. But today, things are much different. You have an influx of a lot of people who have skills. You have to compete with them. And then based on the fact that government didn't protect, preserve, and promote our people, they focus more on the people who coming in. And they overrun us. The investors choose those people for many reasons because they can exploit them. Cheap labor. So we have to fight against these things that didn't exist in the past.
And that makes it more difficult now.
That makes it more difficult. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because in those days, many taxi drivers you had now, they were not taxi drivers back then with Mullet Bay. They used to work at Mullet Bay.
Yeah.
But when Mullet Bay closed, a lot of them left the construction field and they became taxi drivers. And as of today, a lot of them now are being overrun with the free, issuing of permits, which is not good.
I'm glad you mentioned it because I remember as a young man, all the taxi drivers were born in St. Maarten, all from St. Maarten parents. Not anymore.
Because government changed the whole way of governing.
Yeah.
They didn't protect what they had. What they did, they will say they went along with the influx of those people and accommodate those people. And those people outnumbers us. If you check in every business entities, the bulk of the people who are working there are people from outside, no St. Maarteners. I think government's supposed to take a deep breath, look back, analyze, assess the situation, and adjust it, and start finding ways of promoting our people. Let our people get back in the groove.
You know, you said something, Mr. Jim. You said government accommodate those other people, so they don't accommodate us as St. Martiners?
If you look, government leave it up to the business people to do that.
Oh, okay.
The business people, they're looking for cheap labor. There's a vacancy, There are procedures that if you want to fill a vacancy, you go to the labor department, but they don't do that. People just come off the boat and they go straight down to a hotel and they get a job. That's what's happening. I think what government's supposed to start doing, try to get control of the situation, start issuing what you call workbooks.
Like they used to have in the past.
Anybody who wants to be employed must have a workbook.
But that's how it used to be, Mr. James.
Exact, but they throw away that system.
I remember
and become free now, free for all.
Because they used to have a yellow and a green. I think the green was for St. Martiners or local, and the yellow was for outside work. How was that? You remember that?
Because when they came here, they were slacking off at that issuing of those books. But I know they had workbooks. Yeah. So I won't know much about the color, but I know they had workbook. Anybody who is employed in St. Martin must have a workbook. It's something like in the States that you have, what you call it, you're registered. Yeah. You understand? If you're not registered, then you have to leave or what have you.
But you know, Mr. James, today there are a lot of people working on this island and the government don't even know they're here.
Like I said again, things are getting acute. A lot of our people are unemployed. Why they have a lot of employment on St. Martin. Mm-hmm. So something is wrong. Don't tell me you have so much employment and yet your people are not employed. What that tells you, that the free market that I have outside here, which is uncontrolled, the business people, they're not sticking to the procedures because government is not putting pressure on them. They just hire people. They hire people. And who they hire? They hire cheap, they're looking for cheap labor. And that cheap labor you get from people from abroad.
So, Mr. James, what do you think can be done? Because it looks like it's going to continue like this forever.
What has to be done? St. Martin is a small island, but you need a different approach of developing St. Martin. You need a party who's supposed to come with a comprehensive plan, a general plan, and having also the right leader with views, vision, and direction. And that leader is also accompanied with the right set of people. We used to say a long time, we need people who are educated. If you check nowadays, all of them educated. The late Mr. Claude Watty was educated to a certain level. The late Albert was educated to a certain level. But what they were dedicated to the cause they have been elected for. Yeah. Dedicated. And they had compassion for the people. When the people called them on the phone, they were there. And that's what you don't have today. These politicians are dedicated. And they don't have the compassion. Once they get inside the office, you can't see them, not until after the election. So this type of approach is what we need now. People not only educated, but also dedicated to the cause for the tasks that have been sworn in, to look after the people, and to the calls, so that when people call them, so you can listen to the cries and find out what's going on. Good? And then you work according to that comprehensive plan. A comprehensive plan that takes care of the complete development of the country. Not this type of political project and whatnot. You need a comprehensive plan that every segment in that plan is related to each other.
Well, in case you've just joined us, you're listening or you're watching us on Facebook, YouTube, or you're listening to us on Hot 99.9 FM radio. My guest is Mr. Edwin James. Mr. James is here with me. He's a very outspoken St. Martin citizen, and we're happy to have him here in the program. You talk about a comprehensive plan, Mr. James.
A comprehensive plan is like a Marshall Plan.
Right.
What you see now, Mr. Earl Gibbs, every politician come with a project. One talk about a hostel, one talking about some kind of basketball court, but they're not related to each other. You need a comprehensive plan, a Marshall Plan with everything inside here that has to do with the development of the country. And the only person I see with a comprehensive plan is the leader of the USP. In that comprehensive plan, it shows you that you have to diversify your economy, because all we are focusing is on this one pillar, economy, tourist. And we learn in the past, but we still don't do what needs to be done. We just focusing on tourism, and you know tourism is very sensitive. The hurricane comes, destroy the thing, and you're in trouble. You need another pillar and other additional pillar that when that pillar falls, you have still another pillar that you can continue living. So you have to diversify your economy. Diversification means to say now, beside the tourism, you do agriculture. You do light industries. That is environmental friendly with the environment.
Right.
You do fishery. You do also hydroponics, cattle raising. You broaden your economy, because when you do, for instance, agriculture, I would like to know exactly how many millions of dollars we let the island is being drained with millions of dollars because we have to buy food stuff.
A lot.
That money could have stayed here. Because if you take agriculture and be very serious with agriculture, in fact, they treat agriculture like a stepchild. There's not a cent in the budget for agriculture. So how are you going to fool the people that you believe in agriculture? Not a cent. What USP is talking about is making agriculture like a sub-ministry. So once it's a sub-ministry, when all the ministry get their portion out of the budget, there's money for the agriculture. So that's why we have to expand. So when you have these type of things like agriculture, fishery, and whatnot, the money stays here. It circulates. You give people what you call it a job. Good, the economy comes back. Food stuff become fresh, good for your health. And food stuff become cheap. And the economy become more stable and sustainable.
Mr. James, I'm smiling. You know why I'm smiling? Our good friend, Eduardo Richardson, you remember him?
Yes.
From Colby?
Exact.
That man used to preach on agriculture every time. He was on my program many times. He's since passed away.
But nobody used to listen to him.
Exactly.
Because government treats agriculture as a stepchild. It doesn't even exist in the organizational setup. There's no money for agriculture. So why talk about something and you don't have the money for it?
But Mr. James, the Minister of Finance, the current Minister of Finance is the grandson of that same gentleman, Mr. Eduardo James, who was an advocate for agriculture.
His uncle is practicing it, but he's not into that. And this is the problem that we have with our government. We are very, what you call it, we don't have that vision, that view, and that direction to take our country to make it more sustainable and what have you. And here's where we have to go right now at the moment, more than ever.
I think a lot of people, when they hear agriculture, they get scared. But you got to think back to the pandemic and what happened.
Exact.
And it could happen again.
It could happen again. That's what I'm saying. The tourist economy is too fragile. The least little storm come, and there's no more tourist boat coming in. There's no money being generated, but we have to eat.
Yeah.
But we haven't planted any food. No food coming in because the other islands that wait after get the food, they have been also being hit by the hurricane. It's time that we must try to expand, diversify the economy, make the economy much more stronger and sustainable, and what have you.
You know, Mr. James and Maarten now will always have I shouldn't say this, but I feel, and a lot of people feel like this, we will always have coalition governments. No one party will outright win the votes on St. Maarten anymore, like the past. That makes it very difficult when you have coalition governments to push your agenda through.
The problem is, there's different scenario. The first scenario you would like to have a productive and a very dynamic government that have basically the overriding majority.
Okay.
They have the mandate from the people. But that chance is so slim. And because it's so slim, we have to deal with the reality. It's not going to happen so easy.
Right.
That one party got the overriding majority that they rule St. Maarten by itself. The second scenario, you get maybe, like what you have now, a two-party majority. But what happens when you have a two-party majority? The program that you are pushing, you'll have to go now and compromise because the other party said, no, I don't agree with that, and I have to, and that's what you have right now in St. Maarten. Because when you check with the NA, the NA came from way back, from the Whipham, Windward Island People's Movement, the late Mervyn Scott. That was always a grassroots party. It later went into SPM, St. Maarten Patriotic Movement, with the late Van James. Then later it went into SPA, St. Maarten Patriotic Alliance. That's where William Allen started taking over.
And
then it went into...
They changed the name because Leo Chance had joined them at the time, right?
Leo Chance was there, definitely.
He had came over from the DP to...
He came over from the DP.
Yeah.
And he came over to the SPM, SPA.
And it came SPA.
Exactly. He was minister there.
Right.
So what happened now?
Now it's NA.
He's a grassroots party.
Right.
Because the DP party was definitely just for projects. The SPM was a grassroots movement looking after the people problems and what have you.
Social issues and so forth. Yeah.
And we thought now in 10-10-10 that when the NA became the biggest party and right now they have the majority of the ministries, that things will happen in the right direction, but gone haywire.
Didn't happen.
Because why? Because NA take off their suit of being the symbol of a people's movement, become business. The ministries that that's supposed to help the people, which is the VSR ministries, that is health, social, and labor. Those are issues of the poor man, the grassroots. They took that ministry and they gave it to a party that believes in projects. So what you expect that party who believes in projects does? Sit on it. So therefore, the poor people are not getting anything. The UP is not pushing to help the problems for the grassroots. They are more into project. It's because the way how they divide the ministry. Yeah. And that's why I say NA has deceived the people. They have deceived the grassroots. And the grassroots is not going to take it lying down. They're going to hold them responsible. Because we thought that you, when you went inside there with the distribution of the portfolio, you should have took those portfolios. That means a lot for the grassroots.
And they didn't take it.
They didn't do that.
Yeah. They're one of the ones with money.
Yeah. You had the leader, Pamela Gordon Carty, who was minister. She was a fact minister. She wasn't a political minister. They chose her because of her ability. And they put her in VSR. And she did a good job. She passed laws. From all the ministers, not one supported her. But all the parliamentarians who today tell you to fight for the poor man, they were there. They then supported her.
I remember when she was minister, I had on this program, and people was asking why she can't stay on as a minister after the election, but it wasn't possible. Because
in St. Maarten, you have to go along to get along. And she said, no, I will stand up always for the right thing, even if it means I standing alone. That is what she said. And that's what she's still standing on. So today, the grassroots will have to look at the NA and tell NA, you have deceived the people. The grassroots then left you. You left the grassroots. You disappointed them. You cannot have a country that is just, where God just focus on project and poverty is up to your neck. There's so much of poverty going on, and you pretend as if nothing happened.
Oh, it's getting really bad, huh?
Enough is enough. Yeah. And that's why I like what the USP party is coming with, is a comprehensive, affirmative plan to diversify the economy, to make sure and bring home the real property, prosperity, and progress for the people. Because what happened in St. Maarten, a lot of money has been generated in St. Maarten, a lot of money. But what happened? It is not divided properly, and it's not distributed the way it needs to be done. It's like those bourgeoisie sitting at the table, enjoying themselves, and the masses is under the table looking for the crumbs and the crackers. And then tell me, we are the hub in the Caribbean. We are the pearl in the region. But in reality, we're not a real country. We are the laughing stock of the whole wide world.
But Mr. James, the current leader of the National Alliance, the NA, told the people of St. Maarten during the pandemic, eat oats, sardine, and crackers. Those things are very, very expensive, Mr. James. They're not cheap.
I could understand you eat oats, cracker, and crumbs or whatever she says, based on the situation. If you have a hurricane, you can't get no food. But don't tell me when things are normal and you're boasting, you tell me that you are the hub in the Caribbean, you are the pearl in the region, and money is coming in and tourists coming, and you tell me I must eat crackers? No, we're not going to eat crackers. We're not eating your crumbs. We're going to demand because we deserve better. In good times, you treat us the way we're supposed to be treated. And this, again, I'm saying the NA is insensitive to the grassroots, and the grassroots is taking key note of it.
You know, I don't know if you heard this, but the past leader of the NA, who is a member of parliament still, William Maarten, was explaining how St. Maarten politicians became corrupt. He blamed the Dutch. He said it was Dutch companies that came to St. Maarten and corrupted the St. Maarten politicians, so don't blame them.
If the Dutch people are so corrupt, how come Holland is one of the best developed country in the world? Then you didn't learn from the Dutchman. Good? You didn't learn from the Dutchman. If Holland is corrupt and it's one of the best developed country in the world, what about you? You didn't learn good. You forgot to do what needs to be done. You all just focusing on projects and the big investors. And I can understand that because the bulk of politicians are on the payroll of the investors. What do you expect? If there was to pass laws to protect the laborers that goes completely against the operation of the investors, you're going to tell investors increase the minimum wage? You're going to tell them to get rid of the 6 months contract? I can't do that. That's what's happening. It's because they have an agreement with the investors.
Wow, that 6-month contract that you mentioned, it's an issue for eternity. It seems like it's never going to be really adjusted.
So that's why I said the USP, they have the right plan, the Marshall Plan, the plan that's going to lift us from the bottom so we can rise like ashes, and where everybody will be part of the movement in bringing progress and prosperity, and making sure that the young people, the young minors who are become the victim of all kind of pedophile and predators outside here, because this lady bring a lot of laws and none of them accept the laws. Pamela came with a lot of laws. How often she talk about the minors who are being victimized by the predators and pedophile, and nobody cares. The USP is not part of the coalition government. The DSF don't have representation in government. And yet, she bring these initiative laws, she give it to the chairman of parliament, and they do nothing about it. They do nothing about it. They're outside, they're completely isolated from government, but yet they're giving those initiatives, nothing's happened. So she taking care of the miners, she taking care of the laborers, make sure, give them a decent minimum wage. Don't come and talk about you're going to give them a guilder increase. No. Give them the proper minimum wage. And then you could exempt, once you establish the real minimum wage, you could exempt the poor people from paying tax. And she spoke also about the pensioners. Give them the right pension. And once you establish the right pension, then you exempt them from the taxes. But what these jokers are doing, they want to just give you a gilder raise and a gilder. No. First establish the real pension, the real minimum wage, based on the cost of living here. Yeah. Establish that, and then you exempt that. That's the way to go.
But they're saying that the SZV is almost bankrupt.
Well, SZV, to me, instead it is what you call it, a health provider, it's more like a real estate company. SFA taking your premium money. Also the other one, the Postbar Bank.
Yeah, APS.
They're taking your money. I can't recall that they ever called the members in a general membership meeting and asked them for the approval to take their money to go invest in real estate.
But APS doing that also.
They have never done it.
Yeah, but the APS is doing that also.
Well, I hope APS do it, but SZV is not doing that. SZV has become now a real estate company. They're buying property, they're putting a new building, and in that building they're going to have a lot of offices which they're going to rent out. That has nothing to do with providing health. That has to do with real estate.
Could that be because of the director that is there? He's a businessman.
You know what that needs? You need a new government with new direction, new vision, new views. That's what we need right now in St. Maarten.
So you're not too happy with the path that SVV is taking for sure?
You see what you got? It's so easy. You're either going to vote for the continuation of the crisis and chaos and confusion in St. Maarten, or you're going to vote for change, for true progress and prosperity for the people. So simple. You either vote for the continuation or you vote for change. Now, who you got there with a dismal performance, preposterous, poor performances? I even want you to look in that direction to give them a chance, because what you see is what it is. They'll never change.
But you know,
so you got to look at other possible parties that have the right views, the right vision, the right connection with the grassroots, and also the unfortunate, forgotten, vulnerable people who look out for them to see how best they can form the next government.
But Mr. James, most of the politicians we have now currently in government and parliament are offshoots from the older ones. They're children and grandchildren of the older ones.
What's that?
Most of the politicians we have right now, in government and in parliament, are descendants of the former politicians.
The problem is, again, we have said we need educated people. Fine, but we goes beyond that. We need also dedicated people. You are dedicated for the oath that you took. You're going to look after the people. You don't say you're going to fill yourself with money and do all kind of business. Dedicate to the oath that you make before the governor. And have compassion that when somebody calls, you pick up the phone and you talk to them, and don't send your secretary to talk to them.
You know what I heard from a lot of NA people that said to me in private, and they are politicians, and some of them are right now in there. They don't want to happen. They don't want what happened to the late Vance James Jr. to happen to them. He spent his whole life really working for the people, And when he left, he really didn't have much. They want to get it now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So what that tells you? Are they dedicated? No. Do they have compassion for the people? No. They only care about themselves. Grandstanding. Grandstanding. Are they really solving the problem, the perils and predicament of the people? No. Many of them today crossing the border and getting themselves in trouble with the Justice Department.
Really?
And I'm saying, once you have become a criminal, you've been condemned as a criminal, you shouldn't go back in the government office. If you're talking about fighting corruption, you shouldn't have these type of people on your list. Present a decent, proper list with credible candidates, educated candidates, candidates who are dedicated and for the love of St. Maarten going out there and do what the oath that they took, that they live up to that oath and they have compassion to the cries and the calls of the people. That's what we need. And then you need also a comprehensive plan to execute that.
Well, in case you've just joined us, you're watching or you're listening to Oral Gibbs Live. We're in Radio Hot 99.9 FM radio and on Facebook, YouTube. My guest on the program is Mr. Edwin James. He's a very outstanding, outspoken citizen here in St. Maarten. When we come back, we'll continue right here on Oral Gibbs Live on Hot 99.9 FM radio. Please stay with us.
Hey, don't guess about your insurance. Be sure that you're covered. Like with your car, like your home. Be sure to be covered in case of a fire, flood, hurricane, or some other natural disaster. And travel insurance, because you never know what could happen when you're on vacation. You could lose your passport, your luggage, or have an accident. So be sure that you're covered.
Insure yourself fast and easy with Be Sure from the Windward Islands Bank Limited. Visit your preferred WIB branch, WIB Insurance Services, or BeSureStMartin.com. Get your Be Sure insurance at the Windward Islands Bank, your partners in progress.
For real? Somebody came in here and steal my curtains? Well, it's a good thing I'm insured with Be Sure, because even the contents of my apartment are covered. Don't play guessing games with your insurance. Be sure.
Are you be sure? Be sure.
My guest on Oral Gibbs Live is Mr. Edwin James. He's here with me and we're speaking with him about a lot of things, politics and everything else. Mr. James, if you had to give this government a score from 0 to 10, how will you rate them?
Well, I could tell you this coalition government is the worst coalition government in the history of St. Maarten. The worst government in the coalition government in the history of St. Maarten. All ministries are in deep trouble. All government companies are in deep trouble. There's a lot of self-enrichment schemes, scams, and shams taking place. Good? There's a lot of corruption going on in this place here. I'm ashamed. The people demands because they deserve better. And I am saying, and I'm throwing my faith and my confidence behind Pamela Gordon-Carty. You know why? She was inside here. She was by the people. She worked for the people. And she was with the people. She could have easily joined them. She stood up because she said, I will stand up for all the right things, even if it means that they're standing alone and they throw her under the bus. She's outside and she's bringing all kind of initiative laws and giving it to Parliament to peruse and also to enact. And they still ain't doing nothing. And I'm saying, if this lady could be, she stood by the people, for the people, with the people, I think we as electorates and voters, we're supposed to stand by her, for her, with her, at the poll. She stood. She been there and she done it. We must give this lady a chance.
I gather from your answer, you didn't give a number. I'm assuming it's like a -1.
Well, definitely.
The way you came across it.
Definitely, it is very disappointing. Disappointed. St. Maarten, the whole situation, we are almost to the bottom of the pit. It is time that we're supposed to wake up, smell the roses, smell the coffee, and say, this cannot continue any longer. We need a change of circumstances, condition, different than what we have now, the chaotic confusion and crisis that is going on. Enough is enough. Thank God, election is around the corner, and I hope that the people wake up, smell the coffee, smell the roses, and choose for a productive, dynamic government that's going to better your condition. So you don't have to be out there begging and pleading because they are so insensitive to the cause and the cause of the people of St. Maarten. We can do that. And also, the business community, you're going to be affected because St. Maarten go down the drain, all your investment going down too. So it's time that the business people, together with the voters, come together, approach this lady because she has the comprehensive plan that all of you all fit inside. Sit with her, talk with her, exchange ideas and what have you, because what is going on now is also affecting your business, but you haven't seen the worst of it yet. So you're going that direction.
So you're supporting the leader of the US party, Mrs. Gordon Cardi, right? Yes. You're supporting the leader of the US party.
I support the leadership of the US party.
Okay.
I support the leadership because you need a leader. A leader with a good team. A leader, again, who has views, vision, direction. And she armed with that comprehensive plan. And she has a team of not only educated, but also compassionate people. And also dedicated people.
So there was a call. There was a call from the Now party for people like you to jump on board with the No. So you're not taking that to call? You're not?
I think it's supposed to be the other way around. I think Now is supposed to take cue and see how USP runs. Because now, to start with, I said it's a party of mishaps and misfits. Mishaps because the frontline runner is a ship jumper. The another one in line is a ship jumper. When you jump ship, what does that mean to say? You take a seat that is assigned to a party and you walk away with that seat to go and do business with that seat. You deprive the party of that seat. If you was elected direct, I can understand, the people wanted you. And you know exactly how many seats, how many votes you need to get a seat that belongs to you. If that seat was only yours, I can understand that. But you took that seat that belongs to other people's votes. And you're going out there, use it as a bargaining chip. And you have no kind of accountability to who? And then you want me to join you?
But
I can't do that.
But when it comes to the leader of the Now, he didn't jump ship. He just formed his own political party.
Jumping ship is when you take a seat, again, which you then get it on your own.
Okay, so you're saying because he became an independent member of parliament, he jumped ship?
I said again, you just get a seat because the seat was assigned to the parties and you was at that number. But if you had got 1,000 something vote, I said yes. The people wanted you.
Okay.
That's yours.
See your point.
But you took some vote, a seat that have some vote belongs to Mr. Horrogate, some votes belongs to me, and you go on outside there, you exclude me, and I don't have nothing to say. That's hijacking. And I'm not going to support a party that has people of those type of quality people on the list to support him. We cannot deal with ship jumpers. It's depriving the party for who the people voted for. You deprive them of their strength. And on top of that, you have maybe people who had brushes in the past with the Justice Department. So that's why I call it the party of mishaps and misfits.
But what I noticed that there's a flyer going around with a minister, and it looks like this minister is going to be running with us. But is that correct?
Well, you see, nowadays, and let me put it this way. When you have problem and you're seeing that things are not going your way, you're going to use the tools to survive.
Okay.
He is using what he have to get what he wants. He wants to get back in. So when you're going to come with such a deceptive flyer, mark USP, but how you write USP? A big capital U, a big S, and a small p. Actually, the P has to be capital because there's where you're from. UP. It should be UP. And then you use the color. That's when you was part of the USP party in the past.
Okay.
So you come up with that kind of thing, you put it in the kind of way as if, hey, if you don't look good, this gentleman joined the USP party? Absolutely not. It's not a matter of being deceptive. Wow. And I did react to that.
You know, it's amazing because now with social media, you could do a lot of things. You could create flyers and do all kind of crazy things with it.
Exactly, because what happened? They tried every trick to fool the voters, fool the electorates and whatnot. But if you are very critical and you analyze, you assess, you examine all the different angles, what the intention is, and then you'll get the proper information as to know how serious and how genuine these geniuses are. But I consider what he did here is deceptive. He tried something.
Could it be that someone did it and not him? Could it be that someone did it and not him?
Well, if that's the case, then he should go after them. But I haven't seen. He hasn't made a statement.
Oh, okay.
He hasn't made a statement, so silent give consent.
Let me ask you this, Mr. Jim, because you're so vocal and you're committed. You love St. Maarten like me. We're both St. Maarteners. But there's a gentleman on the scene right now. O.A. I'm O.G., Oral Gibbs, and then there's O.A. Olivier Arundel.
Who's that?
Olivier Arundel. He has caused a storm on social media.
Well, Mr. Olivier Arundel, the fact is of Mr. Olivier Arundel, I only commend him. That he went so far to that extent to expose corruption, because it is never done in such a manner that you went and you look for documentation, you go with a cadastre, you can find out call with an inzager, a title research, you can find out exactly who bought land, what they bought it for, how much they bought it for, when it was bought, and all. It's right there. He went and he got all that information. And it is good that he exposed corruption to the tilt. But what I don't agree with is you have freedom of expression, freedom of the press. But with everything, there's a limitation. So much and no further than that. When you breach that whoever you attack, they can file a case against you. I'm supporting them for exposing the corruption. But breaching the area of free speech and expression, and that I don't agree with.
Yeah, a lot of people were surprised when he came up with all those documents showing where ministers purchased property and everything. They were surprised.
Like, the fact is, when you hold public office, then your life is public. You shouldn't hide nothing. You shouldn't hide nothing. Your life become public. And like again I said, he took it further by going down to the cadastre and get information from these people. That way it clearly says, Minister so-and-so bought piece of property from that and that person. It was bought that particular time for so much money and whatnot. It's there.
But you know, Mr. James, ministers are screened, right? Ministers are screened before they take office.
Correct.
And in that screening, and I'm familiar with it because I went through it and I had to fill out the documents, it's very clear. They're asking you what you own, what properties, etc. you own. So if a minister is screened before he takes office, then they should look at what the minister is leaving office with. You see my point?
Of course. Of course. There's a law that's supposed to say, I don't know if they carry it out, that all people who go into hold public office supposed to give a statement as what they have. I don't know if
and it got to be
this
truthful.
government did it. I didn't.
No, all ministers are screened, and that document is there. Yeah,
got to be there.
It's in the document.
You have the rights. You have the rights as any individual to buy property and what have you. You have the rights. It's not a violation.
And you have a right to build a house too.
You have a right to build. But when it becomes so hardened that you getting all these type of things and the country suffer, it casts a bad light. It's about you, not about the country. You went inside there and you get these type of things while the people are suffering.
Because of the office you're holding.
So look at the way you have the rights to do it, but you must look at the way how the voters and electorate's going to accept it.
Right.
Very good.
Yeah. And that's why it's so disturbing to a lot of people. A lot of people are upset about it.
So it comes down like what I'm saying. You went in there to dedicate your work for yourself, not for the oath.
You know what someone said to me? I'm just going to mention, it's a European person. Said to me, Oral, I've been following developments in Maarten. The person has been living here for over 20 years and said this government, is the first government that went in with most people being relatively maybe middle class or lower middle class, and they're going to leave office as multi-millionaires in 4 years.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Any government could go and investigate exactly how you accumulate your wealth, whether it's within the way you call it, the tolerance of normalcy, or you went overboard, that it was done for favors. I help you and I got this. I help and I got that. All that could be investigated. But I am saying, any government who goes inside there, they better check every government company to the tilt on the whole operation.
They have to do an audit of all of them.
They have to audit every one of them. Because what happened, that our corporate laws tell you, for instance, when government wants to execute certain job, is a bidding
process. Yeah.
process. GB is involved in a lot of projects, and I haven't seen a bidding process.
Really?
I haven't seen a bidding process.
It should be.
I know you have subcontractors. My question is, for you to attract subcontractors and bind yourself with subcontractors, and it was not known
Publicly. Because they have to issue it. There has to be a public notice on that.
That's been investigated. Yeah. So all those contractors outside there working for all the government companies, they have to be properly investigated. How it took place, when it took place, and by whose approval.
You're going to get a lot of people nervous, Mr. James.
Well,
they don't like that.
Well, they said again, don't put your finger in fire because you're going to get burned.
Yeah.
You took a chance. Sometimes it comes out good. Sometimes you bite the dust. That's part of life.
Well, Mr. James, I have a minute remaining. It's all yours. Anything else you want to add?
Now, I hope that the people who are watching your program, your popular program, that whatever we discuss was very meaningful for them, and it gives them what you call more information as to make the proper choice, the proper decision in electing the representative in the next parliament. You have the chance now to either you support the continuation of what's going on, or you want a big change right now. And if you're looking for the change, look in the direction of the USP.
All right, Mr. James, I want to thank you for coming to be my guest, and much success, all right? And that's it for now. See you next time right here on Oral Gibbs Live on Hot 99.9 FM radio, Facebook, and YouTube. Take care. Bye.